morning, Wilmington. I'm Vincenza, and I'm here with Ivan.
Hey.
And we have a special guest on our show today. Renata Kowalczyk is the CEO of Wilmington Alliance. Renata, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, and good morning, Wilmington.
Renata, tell us a little bit about the Wilmington Alliance.
So Wilmington Alliance is a 501c3. Believe it or not, we're only 2 years old. We were created in August of 2019 out of a merger of two other nonprofits. That was Wilmington Renatas Corporation that used to do a lot of work with partners downtown, and then Wilmington Leaders Alliance. So we launched Wilmington Alliance in August of 2019, and I am honored and privileged to be the person who leads it. The focus of Wilmington Alliance is equitable economic mobility. So we look at opportunities through entrepreneurship, supporting small businesses. We have place-based initiatives in West Center City, but we also build collaboratives around employability and employment, all with the purpose of helping build prosperity and wealth for everyone in the city. So, you know, we challenge ourselves with how might we contribute to everyone thriving in the city of Wilmington.
That's so. If you don't know Renata, Renata is you have good people and you have great human beings.
Yes.
Like us. She's a great human being, and one thing I love about Renata is her ability to understand that she's privileged, right? But how to implement that and change here in Delaware and in Wilmington. And like my first conversation with her was just like, you know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm sitting here like, damn, like this is a white woman that is really like putting herself out there to help, like not from a boardroom, right, making decisions, but actually in the streets and saying, and going to people that look like me and saying, how can I help? No, I think the first thing she said to me was, what do you need?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's a whole different conversation. You know, so if you're going to talk to Renata, make sure you have that in the back of your mind, because she's going to ask you, how can I help and what do I need? Renata, as a white woman in Wilmington, in the United States, like in your passion and your heart for communities underserved, like what is your why? Why do you do it?
That's complex and beautiful question, and I think Ivan goes all the way to how I grew up. I grew up under the communism in Poland. I was 22 when I came to the United States, truly 2 days after Berlin Wall went down. So I spent my formative years on another side of the wall. What that meant was that I experienced no freedom. I experienced what it means to not to have food, shoes. That's why I now build a collection. We had shortages of food constantly. There was a period of our times that we had everything rationed. So we had coupons. And for example, if my father was an engineer, and as a result, he was only allowed 300 grams of meat per month.
Wow.
So then he bribed someone in his factory to change the code of his job to be a blue collar, because blue collar workers were allowed 600 grams of meat per month.
So depending on your job, just
Yes.
to be clear, depending on your job title, was your food
Rationed.
Determined how much you would get for your family.
Yeah.
Not for you. But
For
your
family,
family.
yeah.
Wow.
Everything was rationed, from sugar to, the only thing that was not rationed, and there was plenty of it, was vodka and vinegar. Everything else was rationed. So we had this incredible network that we've built. I often talk about it. So I'm a trained economist here in the United States, and I often use the experience of my Polish experience as an illustration of what it means to build a resiliency within your own community when the formal economy does not work.
Right.
Majority of economic activity in Poland was happening on the community barter, person-to-person basis, right? If someone had chickens, they will give eggs and exchange them for something else. My parents didn't smoke.
Right.
They had cigarettes rationed. They exchanged cigarettes for lentil, and then they would exchange lentil for something else. It was an entire underground economy, all based on trust
Wow.
and community support.
Wow.
And so I bring that to my why, knowing that that is actually a foundation, that and that's what you see in the Black community, right?
Right.
Like, it's so I see how there is an opportunity to take that, and if people like me who have the privilege, right, who are by the way we look, and in my case also my cute Polish accent, right, like there are doors that open for me that for others don't. How can we be an ally and support it and build this economy that works for everyone? It's just people looking like me, right?
Right.
So that's one, and the second one is my dad. You know, I was my daddy's girl, grew up, you know, Polish Catholic, and my dad always challenged me. He would say, "Your gifts, your talent." No, sorry. He would say, "Your talents are gifts from God.
Yes.
If you don't use those gifts to make other people's lives better, if you don't use those gifts to leave the world better that you found it, then you might as well return them
Wow.
Right.
because you wasted them."
And you know what, Renata, this is my first time meeting Renata today, and I have to tell you, it has been a true pleasure to meet this individual. You can just tell how passionate she is about what she's doing, and that you never judge a book by its cover, because you may see that she came in with a little sparkle, which I have so much appreciation
Talk about
for.
it, Vincenzo.
Yes, I have
Talk
so much
about it.
appreciation for a little sparkle, especially her shoes, all the sparkle. But you can never judge a book by its cover, because
true.
you see her heart.
Right.
Just when she speaks, her energy, her vibes, I mean, what she's doing for the community and the Wilmington Alliance. I mean, you're truly making an impact,
Thank you.
Renata.
I tried.
No, we can tell, but even your background, just sharing the story with your audience, where you came from and now where you're going and how you're making a change. It's really empowering.
But then you gotta, like, it's so much more to unpack here, right? So let's do that. Let's unpack some of these programs that you are bringing in the partnerships that you've created for people such as businesses that are going to benefit from that,
Yeah.
right? So I know you did some over West Side and West Center City. So can you talk about some of the programs and even the culinary network that you're building?
Yeah. So with the North Star of equitable economic mobility, we operate right now within the 3 pillars, and my executive board just approved yesterday morning our 2-year strategic priorities, so which there's going to be more exciting stuff coming. But today, we have a number of projects that we're doing in West Central City under the umbrella of place-based or creative placemaking initiatives. So some of you might have seen, we have the Rock Lot, we've taken a brownfield and we turned it into a park, that's 7 and West Park and Community Garden. And we've got a number of murals, but the most exciting thing that right now that we're working on is in partnership with Grace Church and Riverfront Church. So Grace Church is located at 9th and Washington. We are going to be delivering to the city of Wilmington the first shared commercial kitchen.
Ooh. Wow.
Yes. And we're so super excited about it because we already have 12 or 50 culinary entrepreneurs.
So what does that mean?
Here's what it means. It means is that if you produce and sell food to food trucks, you actually, in order for you to do this legally with all the appropriate state and city permitting, you need to have access to certified commissary kitchen to be able to do that, right?
Right.
If you are, Nataki's son, Mr. Oliver, when Mr. Lemonade, that's right. I wish that, I know he's now off to college, but right when he used to make lemonade.
Amazing idea.
I know, right? Like you go and make the lemonade. So the idea is that you will be like a co-working space, but for culinary folks.
I love that.
Right? So you will be able to have a membership, you'll be able to come in and say, from 5 to 7 in the morning, I'm going to use it for making my tacos and then, prep, and someone else going to be using in different times.
And I just want to go back real quick, because you said in order to sell the food, you need to have access to a commercial kitchen. And Wilmington Alliance has now made that accessible for young entrepreneurs in the culinary and the food industry, that you can come as a co-working space and operate out of that kitchen
Yes.
to create the food and to sell it.
Yes.
Correct?
So, a couple of things.
Okay.
Number one, fingers and toes crossed.
Okay.
We have been impacted like everybody else by shortages of lumber. Couldn't find which ship at the LA port.
Right.
My oven is on, but we've got all the equipment in, and we are scheduled for the state certification this month, so we'll be able to open the door hopefully in January.
Okay.
Yes.
We have a second church that came to us right over here, First Presbytery, said, "We love what you're doing. We have a great kitchen. Would you open a second one?" And we said yes.
Wow.
What a great program.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
only
what a
because
great
we
program.
have so much demand.
Right.
And the other thing that we've also noticed is in the theme of how might we remove barriers to growing a business, we noticed that in order for someone who the business that is located in Wilmington, culinary business, the startup permits and licensures cost are $1,000. I'm paying for it to remove the barrier.
Wow.
Wow.
We went to National League of Cities.
It's incredible.
And we won a scholarship. So when you go into the space, the first year, I'm going to cover all of this. And then you have 1 year to figure out if this is a hobby or if it's a business.
Right.
Right.
There you go. There you go.
But you're giving young business, female and male, individuals a chance to try something new, try something different, to be their own boss.
Yeah.
And they have a skill set.
Yes.
Be able to utilize that skill set, whether they turn it into a business or a hobby.
Yeah.
And I
it's
love
fine.
that.
Either one is fine with us, right? It's like our intent is to create opportunities. Again, it's the same theme. Like, how can we open doors, create opportunities, so anyone can have a choice?
Right.
I had choices when I came to this country.
Right.
Even though I started with no English and $20 in my pocket, I guarantee you I had more choices
Right.
than anyone looking like you, Ivan.
And that's
Just because I look like me.
and that's the way it is. It is that's the when that's the way it is, and it's just so you want to believe that's not the world we live in, right? But I know it's like it's doors that Big Black Ivan can't walk into, right? Renata can, and Renata will use that influence and her privilege, and that's how we make a better world, right?
Yes.
When
Working together.
When you can use your privilege and I can use my privilege, because there's rooms that she can't walk in as me. So I don't want to make it seem like it's a handicap one way, but it can definitely be a superpower both ways.
Yes.
And we all can make just a better world, a better Wilmington, and just a better economy. And one thing, being from Poland, right? You operated off the barter system, right? So how does that make an impact or play a part of what you're doing now?
It influences how I think about local economy. So for me, it's all about shopping local.
It's about what?
Shopping locally.
Right,
So
right.
when people ask me what are my dietary preferences,
Okay.
I'll describe myself as a localvore.
A localvore. Okay.
So I will choose anything produced and grown locally over any other option.
Okay.
Over anything that it's organic and non-organic, right?
A
I've done
local
challenges in the past, which was really fun. There was a time when I did a few years ago, right before I moved here in 2015, I did a challenge with some friends around the country of eating for entire month of October. I only ate items that were grown and produced within the 100 miles from New York City.
Well, that's a
How'd that go?
It was great. Well, I had 10 exceptions.
Okay.
Right? Like sugar,
Right.
lemons,
Right.
olive oil, coffee, right?
Right.
So I allow myself 10 exceptions. But it was fascinating. And so it influences our thinking as an organization as well. I've been hoping and dreaming about a Shop Local campaign since we started Wilmington Alliance in August. And frankly, when COVID hit, our great partners at Cornerstone West CDC, Sarah Lester and I started looking how can we help local businesses by just giving them microgrants to help them survive, and that's
Right.
how Wilmington Strong Fund
Okay.
was born. Then, kind of the next logical step was how else can we help them? And we asked businesses, and again, it's like, can you get us customers? Can you help us market? And I said, well, there's the answer. Here's a shop local campaign. It's now called Wilmington Made. WilmingtonMade.com is the website. We had billboards all around. We're doing now with Cornerstone West CDC, Downtown Visions and us are doing the 12 Days of Christmas, which is, again, pumping customers to businesses. It's about celebrating what we have here. There's so much creativity. There's so much passion for entrepreneurship and businesses here, not only downtown, but walk Union Street, walk Lincoln Street, right? We're talking about how can we rebuild the commercial corridor on North Market Street, right? Northeast deserves it to have it back.
And living in New York and everywhere else that you lived, I think you said you lived in D.C.
I lived in D.C., I lived in Washington State, so I joke that I lived in taxation with no representation place, and then the representation with no taxation, which is Washington State.
Shopping local is huge there.
It's huge.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Will we get there?
We will.
That's all I wanted to hear.
We will.
And I love that you are promoting Shop Local. I'm a small business owner myself. For those of you who don't know, I own an Italian restaurant in North Wilmington called V&M Bistro. And through this pandemic, we were hit hard, along with many other restaurants, small businesses, local eateries, and Renata's making a stand for these businesses and encouraging them to shop local. We're not in the clear yet, so we need to continue to shop local, especially through the holidays.
Yes.
Even just shopping local, just going to your local eatery in your community, because it's really important, really important.
And arts. We need to help rebuild the arts.
Absolutely.
Yes. And the Playhouse is open.
They also took a hit.
Yeah.
Everything
took
down.
a hit.
Everybody.
Everything.
Yeah. So Friday I'm doing a little hanging out with girlfriends and hitting up Bardea for dinner, and then we're going and see Once at the Contemporary. I remember conversations that I had with serving staff, both at Bardea and then La Fia pre-COVID, asking me a question, can you tell me what difference you see in your tips on the nights when there's something happening at the Grand or Playhouse or the Queen versus when it's quiet? And we're talking $260 in tips versus $20, right?
Easy.
Right. So we know that our arts organizations have an incredible economic multiplier effect to our local economy. So I encourage everyone to go back and go out there. They check vaccination cards. They're very safe. They put them, you keep your mask on. You can do all the right things to protect yourself and your family from the current variants and such. And you can still support local businesses and local arts. Yeah.
Yes. Arts is very important here in Delaware, and there's so many artists. Like, and when you take Nataki, what's her name of hers is the Soul Firm, right? Just beautiful young artists around Delaware. Wilmington can definitely. We're getting there. I think COVID has definitely made us hit the reset button, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We are there. We're getting there. So anything that we can help with, I mean.
Well, I have a question for Renata. What is the Wilmington Made 12 Days of Christmas? Tell us.
Yeah, she mentioned that.
Yeah. Can you touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so we've done similar campaigns pre-COVID.
Okay.
It was called, at that time we called it Made on Market, and then we did it Made on West Side.
Okay.
The idea was to work with local businesses for them to identify specials that they wanted to promote during a particular period of time.
Okay.
So, we're in the location where I Am Coffee is, and I remember when I Am Coffee was participating on Made on Market, they had this special drink that was like $2 special latte, right? And so the 12 Days of Christmas, it's about from December 1st to December 12th. There are businesses all throughout the city of Wilmington that are participating, and it's another way for us to customers and tell the story of everything that is being celebrated here and should be celebrated here.
Do you regularly organize events like this to keep the consumer involved and helping the businesses work together, even with the arts and the restaurants? I mean, they all work hand in hand in helping each other. So you do throughout the year regular events. Now, how can our viewers at home find out more about when the events will take place and how they can be
They should
involved?
follow us on WilmingtonMade.com is our website, but we also are on Instagram, we're on Facebook and social media. So we share a lot of information there. Now with my 2-year strategic priorities being approved, my brain is just buzzing with new ideas and new ways, and we will be talking, Mr. Ivan. Yes. We will. About a collaboration, something that we've discussed earlier this year, Ivan and I and Leslie. And at the time I said, hold that thought.
Yeah.
I need to bring new Director of Economic Development and Inclusion, and Dr. Hera Wright-Smith joined my team 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes.
I met her yesterday. Yeah, she's amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So between her and I, she's done this type of work as a technical assistant to other cities and mayors. So she brings the wealth of national experiences, and she's from here.
Yeah, she's from here.
From
And Renata did a national search to grab her.
Really?
Yeah. Love it.
And she's a local.
She's local.
And she's
Can't
local.
get any
All
better
that,
than
she's right around your corner. Right around the corner. But look, we actually, Renata, can you tell everyone where to go to check out more things that Wilmington Alliance is doing for the city of Wilmington?
Sure, absolutely. So our website is wilmingtonalliance.org, but I actually love connecting with folks directly and learning from them about what else we can do. The only way we can be in service of to the city and the communities and the neighborhoods if we are educated on what it's needed. So email me directly, either at ceo@wilmingtonalliance.org or Renata at wilmingtonalliance.org, and that's Renata.
And before we get out of here, right? Before we get out of here, while Vincenzo was talking to Renata, I had just happened to glance over, and first of all, Renata loves shoes, right? She will travel anywhere in the world, not to a place to order online, but to go pick the shoes up, okay?
And they have to be locally made.
And they have to be,
Okay.
yes.
That's part of it.
that.
I make
I
it from
respect
these are artistic shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
locally made. So where's the shoe cam at? Can we get the shoe cam? But what I want you to do is hold your finger down there so they can see the fingernail polish matching the shoe.
We appreciate the attention to detail, Renata. Really, we do.
And that's all for you.
That's all
for you.
Renata, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You are watching Good Morning Wilmington Special Edition with my lovely co-host,
Vincenza Carrieri-Russo.
Carrieri-Russo, right? And your man, Big Ive. All right, we'll see you. Make sure you follow us. Follow Wilmington Alliance and follow us because we're doing some dope stuff. Am I allowed to say dope? Good. All right, it's my network. We're doing some awesome stuff. All right, we'll see you later. TheTVCH.com.